All right, here it is, Tuesday evening, raining like a big dog outside, and just got back from the gym. It's hotter than hell in here. I threw some couple logs on the fire before I left, got stoked up real good. Didn't want my critters to be cold, and I like to keep the heat turned way down because it saves money. Anyway, I want to talk to you guys about if I can get in the mood for it. I was revved up in the car. I'm always revved up when I'm in the car driving, especially as soon as I come out of the gym. But I want to talk to you guys about motivation, about what it takes to actually get big, if you're trying to get big. And look, if you're not trying to build a bunch of muscle, then this video is probably not going to be interesting to you. So let me just jump right into it and try and get this point across. I think the main thing is you have to believe in you. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your own success. You've got to believe in your own success. And again, just like I've told you before, it doesn't matter if anybody else believes. You don't need anybody else to believe. Why do you need anybody else to believe? You don't. You don't. You can do it. If that's what you want to do, you can do it. It's not fucking rocket science. You're not reinventing the wheel. There's enough information today. It's been done enough times, primarily, that you can see what others have done that have gone before you, and you can learn from their mistakes and their successes, basically. And it gives you a really, really solid starting point from which to select which tactics and approaches for you to try out on your own, your own situation, and see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Keep what works, shit can what doesn't. And first you got to get it in your head that every time you go in that gym and you see yourself in that mirror, and I want you to notice yourself in that mirror. Let me tell you something. If you're in there, I know you've seen guys in there, all they're doing is looking at themselves. They're twisting around fucking their own form up because they're looking at themselves, right? Well, that's ridiculous and it looks 14 karat stupid. But if you're in there and you're sweating your ass off and you're busting your fucking balls and you're going hard, then you can look in that mirror all you want. You have every right to look in that mirror. If that's going to help motivate you, get your headphones in your ears, turn that fucking shit up, something that's going to get you revved up, jacked up, and fucking get busy. And get busy and don't stop. Don't slow down. Don't fucking take breaks and rests and fuck around with your phone and all this other crap. Fucking hammer. Hammer while you're in there. You know why? Because you got to be unstoppable. You got to be unstoppable. Now, if you're gonna, you got to be unstoppable, and yet you're gonna be one of those people that stops themselves. That's fucking crazy. Don't be self-defeating. Okay? Get in there and get it done and do your fucking thing. Do your thing. Do your thing. It's got to work, and if it doesn't work, you got to change it. You got to change it. When you walk into that gym, you get warmed up and you start sweating. You might want to peel some clothes off or whatever you're wearing underneath, however it is you get down. When you look in that mirror, you want to expect to see yourself bigger every time. You want to see yourself bigger, okay? If you just started doing things to enhance the glycogen your body's holding, you're trying to train your muscles to hold more glycogen, stay fuller and everything, you want to see that. You want to believe in that. When you go in there, you want to see that. If you don't see that, then you have to find out why and fix it. You don't just keep doing it. If you go in that gym and you expect you're going to see something that's going to impress you out of yourself every fucking time, if you don't see something, if you're not getting impressed by something, then you need to come home and reevaluate and fix it. You've got to fix it. This shit's just like running cars or racing cars or any other fucking thing, or even racing bikes or running bikes. When something isn't working right, you don't just keep driving the son of a bitch. You don't just keep running the motherfucker. You got to go home and figure out what the fuck's going on and straighten it out. And then next time you pull it out, you're going to blast up the street. It's going to do what you want it to do, and then you're going to feel good about that. You're going to feel pride about that, satisfaction in that. That's what you got to do. You got to take that philosophy and approach to your training. You don't just keep blindly doing something. You don't just keep doing something, okay? You're doing whatever you're doing. If it doesn't work, find out why it doesn't work. Either fucking shit can it, and replace it with something that might work, and then do the same with it. If it works, keep it. If it doesn't, throw it out, or fix it. Fix it. You know, and like I've told you, all the information is there. We know so much about hypertrophy now, okay? We know that you've got fast twitch and slow twitch muscle fibers, okay? You've got white twitch fibers, and you've got you got white fibers, you got red fibers. Here's the deal. You got more red fibers than white fibers. Everybody does. So if you're only training one way, the same as everybody else in there, you know what? Everybody else isn't making any gains. If you keep training like them, you probably won't either. Because they're training those white fibers specifically only. They're not really trashing those red fibers. Okay? So you're only making advantage of probably, I don't know, 25%, 30% of the overall muscle tissue, the muscle fibers in your body. That's all you're training. So if you go in there with a different approach and you're training 100% of those fibers, or even if you're training, you err on the other end, you're training mostly red twitch, which is going to be 70, 75% more than what you have of white, where do you think you're going to make the most gains, the most progress, the quickest? Where do you think you're going to get bigger from? You're not training the majority of your muscles properly. Now, if you go in there with a real smart approach and you design a program and train, both fast and slow twitch, right? White and red fibers, then you're really, that's your best case scenario, right? Because then you're training everything you got. You're going with all of it. So if everything just grows a little bit, you're gonna see more progress quickly, more quickly. The other thing is, when you walk in the gym, you're only fresh for that first exercise. You can only your muscles are only going to be able to blow out 100% of what they're capable of, or even draw anywhere near there, the first time. You're not going to be in there fucking a half an hour if you're going hard and still going with that kind of fucking intensity, that level. Well, you can go with that intensity. Let me rephrase that. You're not going to be producing those same results. You're not going to be able to replicate that kind of performance. So when you go in there, a wise man maybe might go in there and his first exercise is always going to be the exercise he can move the most weight doing. It's usually going to be a compound exercise. Something usually with a bar, usually. Okay? If you don't like the bench press with a bar, I understand that. It's not the greatest fucking thing in the world for your shoulders. So I like it. I used to like it because I liked pushing heavy weight. I had a big bench and I liked pushing heavy weight. But it's precarious. So probably smarter than that would be to stick with fucking dumbbells. That would probably be a smarter thing to do. So go in there, and whatever body part you're doing, the first exercise is going to be your heaviest exercise. That's the one you're going to be in there hitting lower reps with fucking lots of weight. When you move on from there, you're not going to be in your second, third, fourth exercise, God forbid, on that same body part, and you're still trying to move heavy weights with lower reps. What are you doing that for? Those fibers are fucking beat to hell. You ain't doing nothing doing that. And now we have studies, and all these things, I've made videos about each one of these individually and backed them up with the studies, that say that high volume training, lighter weight, higher repetitions, just coming up a little short of failure, of actual mechanical failure, is where you're going to stimulate the most fibers. That's where you're going to make the most gains at if you're trying to get bigger. Okay, this shit doing fucking 5, 6 reps just for the sake of throwing a bunch of stupid ass weight on something, that's not going to make you bigger. It's not going to fucking happen. How many fucking huge guys have to tell you how they train, show you how they train, and they don't train that way. They don't train that way. You've only got like one freak that I can even think of, maybe 2 in the past 20 years that trained that way, that blew up huge. And that would be like Ronnie Coleman, who's just not even human almost. And then you see what it's done to his body. You see the price that he's paid for this. And I think Kai Green is training kind of heavy too now. But Kai Green is from another planet also. Okay? We're not from the same planet those guys are from. So if it only works for 2 guys out of how many, right? Why do you think you have the best chance of pulling it off? Probably not. The other thing is, with a lot of these isolation movements, some of them it's time for you to do, some of them it's not time for you to do yet. And you're going to have to feel that out and be honest with yourself. For instance, if you don't have any rear delts, if they're just not present, I mean, sure, they're there, everybody's got a rear delt, but it's just not pronounced at all. There's no real development there to speak of. You're not really going to effectively stimulate that little teeny bit of muscle that's back there by specifically trying to target that rear delt very much. You ain't going to pound that rear delt into oblivion. There's not enough there. What you're going to end up doing is putting too much weight on, and you're not even going to impress that rear delt. You're going to be moving this to shit with your fucking shoulder joint, with your traps, with parts of your back, and every other thing. Every fucking time I train back. Every time. Because especially now, I'm trying to see how big can I get at this age? How big can I get at this age? I don't never expect to get as big as I once was. I don't believe I can get that big, and I'm not even going to even think about that. But I'm wondering, how big can I actually get at this age? How lean, how big can I be by March? So I'm going heavy as I can without going so heavy that I'm destroying the effect or the purpose and the intent of the exercise. Okay? Back is especially true with back. Because back, you can't see back there for one thing. And believe it or not, that makes a difference. You have to actually visualize completely. You have to feel. And if you haven't developed that feel yet, it's difficult at first. Once you've developed the feel, you can feel those little muscles. You can feel what you're trying to get to. So you really have to, that has to be your mission. It has to be your mission. And you're not going to accomplish that with too much weight. You'll never develop that feel with too much weight. I would go lighter. Maybe even lighter than you need to go until you feel. Once you've got the feel and you're specifying, you're getting that one little lump you want to hit, then see how much weight you can put on it before the feeling goes away. Do you understand? Before the accent spills over into surrounding muscles. Then it's no good. Then back down on that weight. Happens to me every time I fucking do back. Nowadays, lately. I try to keep putting more weight on. What happens is, I'm feeling the hell out of it. I'm feeling it like a big dog. Then all of a sudden, one set comes where I've gone too heavy and now I do it, it's gone. I can't feel it like that at all anymore. I'm still pulling it. I could put more on and pull it. But I don't feel that where I'm trying to hit it. That back is such a complex of muscles back there. And it's fucking beautiful when it's developed. That's why back and legs win shows. The back is just a fucking... It's a mountain range. It's just a road map of fucking muscles. But if you want each one to be pronounced and developed, then you need to stimulate each section as much as you can. If you want to delineate, separate, and you want them all to stand out from each other. So when I'm doing it with some weight and it feels great and I add more weight and I'm getting into it, it feels great, I add more weight, all of a sudden, too heavy. Now I can't feel it. Yes, I can still move it to somebody observing it unless they're up on me looking at that back and looking at that knot up when I pull. They can't tell. And then even if they were right on top of me looking, they'd have to really know what they're looking at. They can't tell. They're still seeing me move that weight. I could put a fucking more on and still move that weight. But it's not going to make me look lumpy like this. It's not going to delineate and separate those muscles. It's not going to do it. What it will do, it's going to make you thick. It's going to make you thick. But that thickness is going to come from a few muscles, a few larger muscles that are taking up the slack because that smaller muscle can't work by itself anymore. It never is going to work 100% alone, but you want it. You want to get as close as you can to making that the small parts, the littler muscles, do the work. When it spills over, the larger muscles come in to help out. Now they're so powerful, they can pull a fuckload of weight. So this is why, when you see these bigger guys, like myself, in the gym, you think I can't put more weight on and do what I'm doing? Shit, if it were just my goal to come in there and have everybody go, ooh, look at that, ooh, my God. I could go in there and put fuckloads of weight on and do everything. But there's no point in that. It only can make it more dangerous for me, increase the probability of me being injured. And I'm not trying to get injured, because I'm trying to go to March and look good, not look busted up. And number two, I won't benefit from that. I won't benefit from that. It will not improve my physique at this point. Won't improve it. It will just make me thicker, maybe, but when I diet down, there's going to be holes in that physique. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's going to be parts that are underdeveloped from that shit. There's going to be parts that are greatly developed, but then everything's out of proportion. There are going to be parts that are underdeveloped. So when you go in the gym, you know all these things now. So apply these things. Apply them. Go in the fucking gym. And go in there, you're going in there to battle. You're going in there to battle with yourself, not with anybody else. Not with the guy next to you, not with the guy in the mirror behind you. Who gives a fuck what they're doing? Don't let it get into your head. All right? Don't let it get into your head. Maybe they've been lifting longer. Maybe they have different genetics. Maybe they have more muscle than you have. Maybe they do not have more muscle. Maybe they're smaller. Maybe they don't have shit for a physique. And you know what? Those poor souls ain't going to have shit for a physique if their intent is to get big, lifting that way. They're not going to do anything but maybe hurt themselves. They may build a little something, something. But I'm not there to build a little something, something. Do you understand? I never was there to build a little something, something. This didn't happen by accident. It was by design, 100%. So you go in there, get busy. Don't waste it. And the other thing you've got to do is you've got to cross the T's and dot the I's to a degree. To a degree. It doesn't have to become a job. It doesn't have to become a fucking burden to you. But there are certain basic things, certain basic quotas you must fulfill every day. If you're serious. Every day. And that means you have to be realistic too. When you go to put together the foods you're going to eat, if you think you're going to eat this steak and you're going to eat filet mignon and you're going to eat all this expensive fucking wild salmon, or you're going to eat tuna steaks, you know, all that's all good. But to hit the numbers and the macros you're shooting for, or the calories you're shooting for, how much are you going to have to eat and what's it going to cost? Is it realistic? How much is that going to cut into your lifestyle? The money you need to pay bills with, money you need to exist with, money you may be trying to save and put away in bank maybe, if there's anything left. And also, what happens if, are you going to run out of food before payday gets here? Then what are you going to do? You're going to go like hell and eat really well for a few days. Going to do great. Then there's going to be 1 or 2 days where you can't get shit to eat, or you got to scramble. So now your fucking body's completely fucked up. That doesn't work. It has to be consistency. Consistency. You're better off to choose a more realistic approach, eat more affordable foods, right? And then I would start out on the cheaper end. Myself. Be frugal about it. Put your diet together, eat your food, make sure you can afford that, and then from there, see how it fits you. If everything's working and going good, you may want to splurge a little bit. Maybe you can afford to step it up a little, spend a little more money into it, put a little more into it. But don't burn out. Don't come on like a fucking blazing wildfire and just burn right out. Right? You have to sustain. You have to be able to maintain that fucking approach. So be realistic about it and do the things that need to be done every single day. And you will get there. You will get there. If you're not getting there, and you're doing these things, write me, and we'll find out why you're not getting there. Now, don't write me and ask me to tell you everything I've already told you all over again. Don't do that, because I don't have time to do that. I've already put it all out there. It's already on the videos. But if you are applying it and something isn't working right, write me. If you're not making progress, you write me, and I'll tell you what to try next or where you might be falling short. But you can do it, but you've got to believe it. You've got to fucking believe it. Already expect it and plan on it. Already expect it and plan on it. It's not a big deal. You understand? It's just like if you get up tomorrow morning, you know you need gas. You ain't gonna worry about it all night. You know there's plentiful gas stations. You probably know the one you're going to. You know if you got the money to fill the tank up, or if you're just gonna throw $10 in there to get through tomorrow or the next day or whatever the fuck, right? You already know what to expect and what you're gonna do to get that expectation, to fulfill that expectation. You already know what you have to put out. You already know. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. No second guessing it. And then it's no big deal. You get up and you stop by there, you put the gas in the car, you go on about your business. That's all this is. That's all this is. And that diet is the main fucking ingredient. That nutrition is number fucking one. Now, you may watch some of these YouTube fucking specialists, and they may tell you shit like, oh, there's studies now that you can just take, anabolics, take some tests, and just sit on a couch and you're going to grow muscle. You'll grow muscle. Really? Do you know anybody that's ever been able to do that? Let's be realistic here. I don't know what gyms you guys go to, but the gyms that I go to, there's no shortage of dudes in there that are on gear. Now, when I first discovered this, I was shocked because about 8 out of 10 of the guys that are on gear don't look like they are on gear to me. But yet they are. A lot of dudes are on something. Now, do they look like they're just sitting around growing muscle? Like, wake up in the morning, oh shit, I overslept and grew too much muscle last night. What the hell am I going to do now? No. It doesn't happen that way. So just because some fucking imbecile tells you something ridiculous, all right, like I told you before, and the same thing with these studies. Like I told you, you know where these studies come from, the motivation for these studies? These studies come from researchers, observers. They observe something, they hear of something, or they see something, and it's unusual to them. If it wasn't unusual, they could easily explain it and already understood it, they wouldn't need to research it, and they wouldn't be able to get any grants, and they wouldn't be able to do a study about it. Right? Fair enough? Common sense? So they observe something already happening. They observe people already doing it, already pulling it off, and they are trying to figure out how they're able to do it. How is that happening? How, I ask you? And so they study it and they put it down on paper, but most of the studies, most of the fucking science that's groundbreaking today, 10 years from now, they'll say something that contradicts it. It is the way it is. We don't know everything. So I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket. I mean, they can help you. You can learn something from them. Awesome. Can motivate you or whatever, or give you another direction. Awesome. But let's not forget what came first. Chicken or the egg. In this case, the fucking results have already come. They came first. Motherfuckers were already out there doing it and figuring it out for themselves what worked. Some fucking researcher saw it, heard of it, whatever, and thought to himself, that shouldn't be happening. How can that happen? We need to study and see what's going on here. That's what happens. That's basically how it happens. So, the most ridiculous one I've heard so far is that you can just sit around and build more muscle. A guy that's on test can sit around and build more muscle than a guy that's training naturally. I don't know, I want to see who this guy is. Show me these guys. Okay? You can show me a piece of paper that says that, but show me these guys. I've been in and out of gyms for 30 motherfucking years. Real gyms where people really train. And I've never seen that. Maybe I live in a twilight zone where people don't just lay on the couch and grow muscle. If that were the case, shit, we could solve our obesity problem and all these people out of shape just by giving them tests, right? They just lay around and carry on and they can grow muscle. I mean, if they don't get any fatter and you increase your percentage of muscle, then your body fat percentage in relation to it is going to be lower already without even dropping a pound of fat, right? So, yeah, I got to call bullshit on that. I don't give a fuck what study says that horse shit. I want to see the motherfucker that works on. So I wouldn't count on that. I wouldn't take some TRT and just lay around and just wait for the muscles. I think you're going to be waiting a long time. All right. Anyway, that's all I got to say is that you can fucking do it. You can do it. Just do it. Make it happen. Make it happen. We're about making it happen here. We walk the walk here. Now, if you don't want to get big, you're not trying to get big, that's your business, that's fine. I'm not telling you it's like the holy grail of fitness or, it's everybody's ideal. It's definitely not. It's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. Who gives a shit? That Brian Boyano is a hell of a figure skater, but I have no interest in figure skating myself. Does it make one of us wrong? No. You understand what I'm saying? There's a dog again. This dog is unruly sometimes. Unruly. She doesn't even respect when I'm making a fucking video. Anyway, that's all. I just wanted to point that shit out and tell you, you can do it. You can do it. But you have to expect it to happen. But be realistic. Be realistic. As long as you're eating the food, that's the most important thing. And you're going to the gym and training like you have some sense. And the other thing about bodybuilders don't know how to train. Really. Well, if your goal is to train to get big, I would say that Jay Cutler must know how to train to get big. I would say Kai Green must know how to train to get big. Phil Heath must know how to train to get big. Do I got to keep going? Clearly, I know how to train to get big. Now, if you want me to teach you how to pole vault, you're right. I'm a bodybuilder who doesn't know how to train as far as pole vaulting goes. You want to build muscle and get big? I'm a fucking guy that knows how to build muscle and train to get big. It's simple as that. And you can do it too. It's not that fucking hard. You just got to do it if you really want to do it. And if you don't care about it, then it's fine. If you do care about it, get your motherfucking ass in the gym when you go and do work. I swear to Christ, if I saw you in the motherfucking gym and I knew that you were a brother of mine and you were a gorilla brother and I saw you fucking off, I would call you out on it. Not in a mean way, but as a man to another man, I would call you out on it. I would say, bro, what are you doing? I would jump in there and say, come on, man. Come on, what are you doing? What are you doing? Arms? I'm doing arms. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Yeah. And then there'll be no question about how to do it. And you don't have any question about how to do it. You just need the motivation. You just need the motivation. Motivate yourself. Be your own fucking motivation, man. Be determined. Be determined. Make it fucking happen. No ifs, ands, or buts. Make it happen.